What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to a brand new Amazon video. In today's video, I'm going to be giving some advice to new Amazon employees. Before we get into it though, I do want to say I did hit 1.5k subscribers, as you guys saw in the last video. If you watched till the end, y'all saw that I had a big announcement where I am doing my first ever live stream on Monday, November 22nd at 1 p.m. CST. So definitely be prepared for that. We're going to be playing some video games, hanging out, chatting about literally anything. You can come through, ask me anything you want. And we're just going to be hanging out, doing whatever, just chilling. So definitely tune in for that live stream. Subscribe if you're not already subscribed, and let's get straight into the video. So in today's video, I'm going to be giving 5 pieces of advice that I can give for new Amazon employees. And I'm going to start that off with number 1, which is scout the area out and inside of your warehouse. So I'll go through the part 1, which is outside. And what I mean by this is basically if you're working somewhere that you're not familiar with, like I know in my location where my facility is, I had never been there before. I'd never been in that area, never drove around that area before. So it was completely brand new to me. My advice is if you're in the same situation as I was, you had never been in that area before, if it's close enough, definitely go around, go to the location before you start working there, maybe a week before or a couple of days before, and just drive around the area. See what location, see what restaurants are where, see how close your location is to different areas and different places you might want to go to during break or something like that. Maybe different corner stores or gas stations, maybe to fill up after work, or maybe restaurants to eat during your break, anything like that. Just my advice is to go find find the restaurants for sure. Definitely go look and see what restaurants are around there and which ones are closest and which ones are furthest, so that during break, like when you leave on your first couple weeks, you're not rushing to find out, okay, where's the nearest restaurant and where is closest enough to where I won't get written up for taking too long of a break. Go ahead and tour the area outside of the warehouse so you know what's around the area, so you're not confused during your first break or any of your first couple of weeks where you're going on break and you might be leaving the warehouse if you don't have your own lunch at the warehouse. And now for part 2, it is scout inside of your warehouse. And what I mean by that now is I would take a day off, maybe on your second or third week when you're no longer in training, clock out on your phone and just go around the warehouse, tour the entire warehouse. Now maybe your manager or your trainer is nice enough to show you the entire warehouse. My trainer did not do that for me. I do sometimes see trainers showing their new employees the warehouse. Mine unfortunately did not do that for me, and I believe most don't. And if yours doesn't, go ahead and take the time, clock out on your phone once you're done with your shift and just walk around. Take maybe 20 minutes if possible. If you can do this, go ahead and take 20 minutes, tour the entire warehouse on the side that you're going to be working on, because there's always inbound and outbound. I don't think if you're an inbound, you don't really have to go and tour outbound. Just tour inbound. My advice, and these are 2 really, really important things, is find out where all of the restrooms are, every single one. You're going to want to know where every single restroom is. And then number 2, find out where all of the break rooms are. That is going to be extremely important as well, to find out where all the break rooms are. Now, the reason for this is a lot of the times, a lot of the restrooms at Amazon facilities only have one single stall in there for just one person. So you're definitely going to want to know where it is if you end up going to the restroom, especially if you're far from the restrooms, which in my case, when I'm in Stowe, I usually am. So if you're far from the restrooms, you're definitely going to want to find out which ones are where. So if you go to one and it's taken, you'll know where the nearest one is immediately, so you don't have to waste time walking around the entire warehouse and getting written up for TOT. So definitely find out where all the restrooms are. And then the break rooms are basically pretty much the same situation. You want to know where every single break room is. So if you're put at one station, you'll know where the closest break room is. If you're put at another, you'll know where the closest one to that one is. So you're not going to the furthest break room possible. If you only know where one break room is, you're only going to end up going to that one, and that's definitely going to shorten your breaks if that break room is far. So just know where all of the closest break rooms are. My advice would be, if you have 4 floors like I do, just tour the entire first floor, find out where all the break rooms and restrooms are on that one. Do the same for the second, third, and fourth. Tour the entire thing. It could take 20 minutes to do so, but I would definitely think that it is worth it. So if you're put at different stations you've never been to before, you know where the nearest restrooms and the nearest break rooms are. So that is number 1. That is tip number 1. Now tip number 2, and my advice, is to figure out your manager's rules. If you saw one of my last videos where I talked about why I hate working at Amazon, and one of the reasons was because there is an inconsistency between the managers. All of them follow different rules, and all of them are just different. Each manager you will get a lot of managers working at Amazon because people are constantly being shifted out, people are constantly quitting, etc., etc. So my advice is, when you get your first manager, figure out immediately what their rules are. Now, most good managers will come out and introduce themselves on your first week, or maybe their second week or third week. They will introduce themselves very early on if they're a good manager. If they don't do that, you probably don't have the best manager. But just go to your app, find out which manager you have if they don't introduce themselves, and go ahead and talk to them one-on-one. But my advice is to figure out what their rules are on TOT and what their rules are on break compliance and just what their rules are on things in general, but especially TOT, because like I said in that video, most people don't care about TOT, but there are a few managers that do. There's a lot of managers that will write you up for TOT. Some managers don't care. Some managers, as long as you don't go like over an hour, like if you go 40 minutes, they'll be okay with that. But a lot of managers, if you even get like anywhere near 30 minutes, they'll probably write you up. Like if you get like 29 minutes, they'll come and talk to you. And then if you do it again, they'll probably write you up. You definitely want to know what your manager's rules are. Don't try to risk it. Don't think that maybe your manager is okay with everything. Do not risk it. Do not take risks. Find out what their rules are so they won't run over you or they won't try to take advantage of you later on. Definitely find out what the rules are immediately, and find out what the rules are on break compliance. Do they care if you come back maybe 5 minutes late from break? Find out those as well, because those are also really important. I've seen people getting written up for break compliance all the time, so it's definitely really, really important that you find out if your manager cares if you come back late or not from break, or maybe they want you to come back early. I had a manager who wanted me to come back early. That shouldn't have been allowed, but that's the deal. And yeah, definitely number 2, find out what your manager's rules are, ask them everything, and write it down in your notes if you have to, so that later on they won't try to take advantage of you. And yeah, that's my second piece of advice that I will give you. My third piece of advice is if you're going to eat out, maybe you're going to go to a restaurant nearby on your lunch break or whatever, do it on the first break. Do not do it on the second break. I'm giving you this advice because I didn't know it. Nobody told me it. And I went out on my second break and I tried to get food then and come back really, really quickly. And I ended up getting written up for it for break compliance, or TOT, I think it was. So my advice is definitely only go on the first break. Your first break is your unpaid break. You are not getting paid for your first break. You are clocking out, and because of this, you have more leniency, more time to go get food and come back. Your second break, it is paid and it is scan to scan. Usually they only want you to do 25 minutes, 30 minutes. In some locations, it's only 10 or 15 minutes depending on how long your shift is. But overall, your second break is not for going out and eating, because if you do that on your paid second break, you will come back. There's a chance that if the restaurants are too far, or you just take too long, or your warehouse is too big, so you got to walk to your station or run to it really, there's a chance that you're going to get written up coming back. So my advice is only go out to eat on the first break. Take that unpaid break, the one where you have to clock out, take that time to go out and eat. Do not do it on the second break. Nobody told me this advice. I wish I had known it, but nobody told me it, and I got written up for it. So just eat out on the first one. You can definitely still eat on the second one, but stay at the location, definitely, because you do have that scan to scan break, which really, really sucks. Before I get into my fourth piece of advice, if you haven't already, go ahead and join my Discord down in the link in the description below. I have my invite link there. Definitely join it. You can ask me questions there. It's a lot better than commenting sometimes, because for some people, I don't know why, but YouTube deletes comments automatically on my channel. I don't know why it does this. It only happens for like 30% of people, but it still happens where if you try to comment something, YouTube will just automatically detect it as spam and delete it. I think it has something to do with people's accounts. I'm not really sure what it is, but definitely go to my Discord and join it if your comments are getting deleted, or if you just want to hang out and chat in general. Go to my Discord down in the description and the link below, so you can go ahead and ask me anything and just talk with all the amazing community in there as well. So definitely go and join my Discord if you haven't already. But now onto my fourth piece of advice. Don't be one of those people who puts hoodies over their head in order to hide their headphones. Please don't be one of these people. I've seen people do this all the time, and I'm not even gonna lie, when I was new, I did this as well until I got told to stop. There's so many people who put their hoods on and they think, oh, nobody can tell that I have headphones on. Trust me, it is the most obvious way to show that you have headphones on in the world. Every manager, every other associate, everyone in the warehouse is looking at you like, this person really thinks we don't know they have headphones on. And people are gonna come and they're gonna write you up for it. So my piece of advice is, if you're gonna try and wear your hood, just don't do it. Everyone will know you're trying to hide your headphones. It makes it extremely obvious. Even if you're not trying to hide headphones, don't bother with it. Just don't do it. I'm not gonna lie, I used to do it and I got in trouble. I didn't get written up for it, but I did get in trouble for it before. And now my final piece of advice, my fifth piece of advice, is don't stress about your rate during your first week or even your first month or so. I always get some people in my comments who are stressing about their rate, and they always say like, I'm not hitting rate, like I'm getting in trouble, what's gonna happen, am I gonna get fired? And then they end up saying, it's my first week, it's my second week, it's my third week. My advice to you, please do not stress about your rate, especially not during the first few weeks or even the first couple of months. The fact of the matter is that this job takes a little bit of time to get used to. For me, it even took, I think it took like a month, 2 or 3. Like it wasn't up until about 3 months until I finally got the hang of it, and I finally learned how to stow at a really, really good rate and do things the proper way. It might take up to 3 months like it did for me. It might take up to a month or 2 months. If you're not hitting your rate and you're getting in trouble and you're getting talked to by learning ambassadors or your manager or anything, do not worry. As long as you're not getting written up for falling below the 5%, do not worry. Almost every new person goes through this. It is completely normal to not hit your rate during the first couple of weeks or maybe the first 2 months or 3 months, like in my case. Do not stress about your rate, please. My advice to you new employees is just, you're not going to be doing as good as they want you to do on the first week, second week, third week. So just don't stress about your rate. Trust me, it's not that deep. As long as you're not falling below the 5%, you're good. Just stow at a steady pace, do what you can do, and do as best as you can do, and continue to learn. It might take a little while to get really, really good at this. Don't worry and don't stress and don't think, like I'm not good enough at this job, I'm just gonna quit. Because I at one point thought that as well, and then a couple months later I'm doing perfectly fine, and now I can be one of the best stowers in the warehouse. So definitely just don't worry about it. Do not stress out about your rate. It'll come. Your time will come where you learn how to stow or pick better or whatever you're doing. Whatever rate that I'm talking about for you, that time will come. And if 3 months down the line and still hasn't come, just try and ask to switch to a different position. Maybe on your A to Z app, go ahead and request a transfer. Do not completely give up and quit. But yeah, with that being said, those are my big 5 pieces of advice that I can give. I'll definitely be making more of these. Let me know down in the comments below if you would like to see another one of these videos, because I have a lot of advice I could give to new employees, to be honest. And yeah, if you haven't joined my Discord already, go ahead and join down in the link in the description below. And if you haven't already heard as well, which I'm pretty sure you have if you made it this far into the video, we're doing my first ever live stream on Monday, November 22nd, 1 p.m. CST. So definitely go and tune in. Go ahead and subscribe down below if you haven't, so you can join this live stream. Just come and hang out with us, chat, just watch me play video games if you want to, ask me questions, whatever you want to do, just come hang out, please. I would love to have you there. And if it does well, I'll continue to do more of these, so definitely come through. With that being said, I'm going to end that there. So thank you guys so much for watching. I love you all. I'll catch you guys on the next video. Peace.